welcome everybody to this episode of Curse of Mother Mystery. This is a module, the Curse of Strahd module, that has been changed, transformed to become better, and is set into the setting and system of Frostmark. There is a content warning tonight of gothic horror, gore, and bad language. With me, I have my wonderful cast of players. I have Lady Lyria, the half-elven magus. Say hello, Julie.
Hello.
Hello. I also have Krakas, the gnome ranger, played by Sean. Say hello.
What, they get me?
The fabulous Nix of the Vistani, a tiefling barn, played by Adrian.
Yes, I am fabulous.
And certainly not the least, we have Sir Asveda, the silver dragonborn paladin, played by Aeronox.
Hello.
Hello. Awesome. Alright. Last time on Curse of Mother Mystery, our party traveled from the village of Barovia. They found a weird bundle of clothes that they decided to leave alone. They came across a weird crossroad with a gallows, had some weird visions, reacted to them. And then the party arrived at Seer Pool, where Madam Eva and the rest of the Vistani are encamped. There they had quite a bit of talking, a bit storytelling, as the Vistani made them welcome with wine and food, campfire, and hearty music. There was some drama, asking why Nyx had stolen the diplomat letter and gone all over to the Protectorate to take that honor upon himself, and then nobody knowing where he is, and half of the Vistani are outside of the Mr. Barovia searching for him. So that was a Jikes moment. There were some advances from the Vistani towards 2 in the party, but no action were had. And then in the early morning the next day, they were invited into Madam Eva's tent, where they were told about their fortunes, their personal fortunes. They were handed a bunch of cards that could help them divine their future and their potential if they walk the right path. And she also started giving out cards that would give them the location of 3 artifacts that she said were imperative to bring down the Count. She also said she would reveal a card for an ally and a card for where this fated battle will be held. But as she reached for the 4th card, the card of the ally, her panting, sweating, and almost feverish behavior came to a stop as she viciously exploded from within to reveal a bewinged, hairy, grey and brown creature that slashed at one of the players in the confusion in the tent, and then escaped and flew into the mist. That's where we're going to continue this story. We're gonna pop back into the camp and switch up the music a bit.
Solo leveling manga, þá hitnar síminn. Þegar ég les manga, það er síminn.
There you go.
Nei, ég búin að finna góðan status. Nei.
Echoes of shrieks, screams, and all the events still bounce around loudly in all of your heads. All of you trying to come to terms with what just have happened. The early morning is surprisingly warm for autumn, with little wind, and in truth, the weather is almost stifling. As the atmosphere in the camp. Some brave Vistani stand around you with shocked expressions. The rest you assume protecting the kids against whatever they have heard. You all stand in the remnants of this deep crimson tent that was Madam Eva's. Mixed within it and upon your armor, clothes, and faces are bits and pieces of flesh. A scalp here, a muscle there, maybe a piece of organ. What is your immediate reaction to all of this?
I'm just casually bleeding out. It's fine.
Right, and Illyria has like 3 deep claw marks deep into her chest.
Crocus is going to immediately take a big slab of skin because he can't really see he's just grabbing for the first thing he can see,
Yeah.
and then putting it over the wound on Illyria just to cover it.
No!
Make it gross because it's old tiefling skin. Here you go.
Can I do something to stop him?
I mean, you are hurt, but you're not unconscious or like
Yeah, it's
exhausted.
I'm very hurt, but I guess I'm standing, so Krakus can't really reach anyone.
I just want to point out. Wait a minute. Well,
Yeah.
I think this involves a strength test.
A strength test. Why?
It's me. Well, it's Crocus versus Illyria.
Yeah, but it's less that and more you can't even reach.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a table and there's a table I can stand on. The table's not destroyed, is it?
I mean, if you had maybe what is your athletics score?
Oh, you would, wouldn't you? Let's have a look. I do forget. Actually, that we got 2 points in athletics.
Okay, so he can like climb his way up there technically, but Illyria swaps him away.
Oh, I
and
see. I was gonna go down.
Probably sidesteps because
Yeah, it's
she's
just
quite
like-
dexterous.
What are you doing with that? Put that down.
Don't move so much, you'll bleed out.
Please don't put somebody else's skin on me.
It's the best we got. Is this normal? Do tieflings always explode into bat creatures?
Nyx is kind of like got this 1,000-yard stare, like big eyes as big as saucers, that are like, they're red, but he's like splattered in blood, so it's kind of like he looks like he's crying blood. And he looks over to Illyria, and he goes, "Oh, right, here," and he will just like kind of almost as an automaton, just like weave the sigils, and his tattoo will flash, and he will cast healing word on Illyria.
Nick's magic is almost a little bit muted, less of that golden specks that it usually has.
Thank you, Nyx. If there's anything we can do for you,
+6.
You make it.
It's like all the sounds around him feel very muted, and he goes, the others. I have to check the others, and he would just like leave the tent to rush out into the Vistani camp.
Climbing out and just joining the circle of shocked faces that are just like a few meters away, frozen in their step, which is just this is how you feel. And Durinia is the first one who takes the words, and she goes, fuck? What the fuck just happened?
You wouldn't believe it, but care to hear about it?
Oh, I really want to know what happened. You went in there? And
Yes.
Madam Eva, but where is Madam Eva?
I ask for you to calm down first, for the news is not pleasant. Breathe in and out.
You think?
Yes, I do think. But I'm sorry to say, but your Madam Eva is no more. In her final acts to perform what deed she wanted to do most, our fortunes, shortly after that monster you have seen flee into the night sky, that came out of her.
They're like looking in between each other. Shock still apparent. But Floor is the one to change the meteor first, and she like breaks down in tears and just collapses on the ground, like almost dizzy, and basically isn't just in a hugging her knees, like in fetal position on the ground, just trying to console herself. The rest of the party is just still looking confused. But your words ring out over the camp because it's like completely silent and in like pretty early morning. And there's some sounds of like shocked gasps and soft cries from inside the wagons.
Nick's in like a daze, looking around, seeing no one's injured, right?
No one seems injured that you can see.
Okay. He will like just like nod slowly and then like look down at his clothes and be like, "Oh, I'm a mess." And he like turns and like looks towards the lake and starts walking towards the lake.
Do you guys follow? Or are you proud standing there and
Um, Asuna will stay with the people here who are grieving. I think the other two can like go to Nyx if they want.
I mean, Valeria will look around the people, then look after Nyx, like
Alright.
Crocus is going to go back in the tent.
Oh.
she's
You want-
going to follow Nyx, but she's not like trying to get too close to him or anything, mostly just like trying to keep an eye out.
Right. Gently following, making sure that everything is okay. And you clean yourself as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
Crocus, you went through the tent. What are you searching for?
Mostly he wants to basically have some space to himself, but at the same time he's going to busy himself by just having a look around the tent, because he's trying, in a weird way, he's trying to piece it together, just like, what the fuck just happened?
Let's make an investigation roll then.
Fair enough. I do forget if I have investigation. Bear with me. Ah, yeah.
Oh, 20. Damn. The tent is has two different kinds of marks on it. One is like a stretchy tear mark from like excessive strength tearing pieces apart. Others are made through these heavy claws. there's, blood and flesh, like strewn about, but with your medical knowledge and like sizing up Madam Eva's form, it does seem that there's less blood and flesh than like all of Madam Eva at the location. There is also, a broken table, broken chair, bed, personal effects strewn about, bookshelf, some torn and destroyed books. That crystal ball has some scratch marks on it, but it still survives. And a few black cards, actually, splattered with blood.
I suppose Crocus is just going to be feeling rather sick at the realization that, just the thoughts of,
Yeah.
there is less woman there than there is now.
You also find a caved-in Euro box with, let's see, with 15 different sheep Euro pieces inside.
As much as Crocus is a kleptomaniac, this is the wrong time for those sort of urges to come about. Was there anything on Madam Eva, like let's say like a necklace or even a bracelet or something like that, that might like have survived?
Let me roll a random check here to see, because the necklaces she was wearing were like torn. No, you can't find any. But you do find like the torn necklaces, but they're, they need repairing before, if they're even possible to repair.
Caracas is going to take them because he's thinking about the sentimental value which possibly Nyx may have for them. But other than that, he's just going to stay at the tent, quite peaceful on his own, in the filth, to process.
So you find like a few broken pieces of necklaces and bracelets that you can write up on your character sheet. Madam Eva. Coolio. Aspida, as you stand and observe the Vistani, there are more who have joined in tears. Even Dorinia now has like tears running down her face. But you can feel that the temperature is slowly shifting from shock to grief to maybe something else.
Can she do a little insight before there's something else?
Yeah, you can. Let's roll an empathy with composure.
Yo. A wonderful 10.
A 10.
A very round number.
You can't really tell what is shifting towards, but you feel the shift and you feel a little bit nervous about it, like what comes after grief.
Oh yeah, she's thinking, well, what's the cycle of grief? How does that go? After there's shock, there's grief. Which comes next? She braces herself for what's to come.
Right. And then down by the river, you two quietly just clean yourself off.
No, Nyx walks into the river, into the lake.
Oh, okay.
And just like to the point where the water is kind of up to his stomach. And just kind of stands there, motionless, for a while.
Lyria is sort of like a bit away from him, just like cleaning herself off, but mostly just like watching, like a little bit worried about Nyx.
After a couple of minutes, he's just like looks down at his hands and like sees the blood on it and just like slowly starts to wash his hands like he's, kind of like just after using the restroom, like not vigorously or anything, just kind of a little bit out of focus. Like, this has to be done, but
Methodically.
yeah, and does it like really quite slowly and yeah. Put some water on his cheeks, washed his face, as if he was doing it every morning. He stands there.
In the scenery, most
Kul.
oh god, I'm missing the word. Familiar to you. You spent a lot of your life here. It should be the same, but it doesn't feel the same anymore. Without the presence of Madam Eva. Illyria, since you're down by the beach, I would say that that Nyx is a little bit out of it right now. But Illyria, Krakus, and Asvada, you start hearing, raised voices as the Vistani kind of start talking to each other and commenting about what's happening. And
What? Oh god.
it crescendos a bit. Starts off like slow and with a lot of trepidation, and then questions starts pouring in and a little bit of accusations of like who stood guard and things of that nature.
Can she hear what words are being spoken? Like what's being whispered that's gradually getting louder?
Yeah, they're so distraught that they are not really trying to be that sneaky about what they're doing. It is quite clear that Dorenia is trying to shift blame over to Nyx about what's happening. You hear in her string of quick and rapid words that sometimes switch over to infernal, cursed child. Knew this would happen, whilst one of her sons, the big burly white-skinned, is like trying to calm down and like trying to find reason, and Floor is starting to like more viciously defend Nyx.
Which of these portraits is the one that's blaming Nyx? Don't
Ah.
have it.
The big one in the middle.
Big one in the middle.
Yeah, and then the white-haired man called Ayun is backing Dorenia up.
Okay. She is going to, Asfada is going to go over to Dorenia, kind of approach her, like slow but firm. And when her presence is known, she is going to crouch at eye level, right in front of her. Their big snout.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
She's not the tallest. Like, she has an aura, and she isn't the thinnest of tieflings. But she's quite short. So yes, indeed.
Yes, she is going to say, if you have any complaints, don't be a coward about it. Speak them loud and true, your issue.
Do not take this the wrong way, diplomat. You're an outsider. This is a Vistani issue. Our leader, our ancient leader of the whole Vistani, just exploded.
Yes, and her bits are upon my frame, and I believe you have trying to pin and shift the blame upon Nyx, and by happenstance, that now involves myself. It is not only your issue, but my issue as well, since her fortunes, her last ones, pertain me, pertain Nyx, pertains Illyria and Crocus, the guests that your late Madam Eva had searched far and wide to find Nyx. Isn't that curious?
Few turns on
It
lenti
seems
þarna.
that she wanted,
Þá byrja ég að taka
knew what was to come, had
Um,
no other choice.
at the mention of the blood and flesh of Madame Eva that is still upon your body, she kind of recoils a bit, and she has to quickly put a hand in front of her mouth and breathe slowly and like focused for a second, as she suddenly turned a little bit green.
Like, nei, like, that's gonna byggja. Like,
With all due respect, I have no proof of what went on in that tent except for your word. And that might be true, but I do not know for certain, and there has always been something strange about that boy. He is unnatural, I say. He's not a true Vistani. He has shown his true colors, letting this happen to Madame Eva.
No, the fault is not his. Perhaps think of it as this. Have you ever thought that because he is odd and because he is strange, that Madame Eva knew that he is the one to partake in a difficult trial? Have you ever thought of a leader or somebody who's done great things in their lives, ever a normal person?
so like, turnarnir eru mjög
Well, he can start with the great trial and challenge of becoming a proper Vistani, because apparently with that he has totally failed.
And who said a trial?
And we require a leader that look to our issues, our problems, and our needs first, not going out and frolicking with outsiders.
And
What's
if
it-
not for the outsiders, if not for him leaving, he would never have brought us, the individuals that Madame Eva happened to foresee.
hann með
Floor takes a small step forward, and she says, you know, Dorinia, he has escorted the diplomats all this way and earned their trust, and Madame Eva did ask for him personally and these outsiders to have a fortune reading, which does not happen all the time, as you know. Dorinia's eyebrows furrows deeply, and she shouts away, "Quiet! I am now the oldest in this camp, and therefore I'm its de facto leader. I don't want to hear you babbling anymore. It's decided. We cannot have Nick's tainted presence here any longer."
Then you shall lead your people to ruin if you do not listen to all who wishes to speak and put their opinions and think about it rationally. If you wish, it is out of my hands. However, do know your people will look to you and they will talk behind your back, much like you are talking behind Nyx's back. Before you take up such a position, I recommend that you sit down and think and wait, because you are grieving, and no leader who is grieving makes smart decisions for their people. And Asphodel will turn to leave without another word.
Dorinia shouts after, saying, "You don't know the Vistani way."
The Vistani way does not matter to leadership. Leadership is a constant.
I think it's time for the diplomats and that little stowaway, as well as Nyx, to continue on your journey.
That we will. And should ruin happenstance upon you, it will be because of foolish actions. And I wish, if should we return upon Madam Eva's quest that she has bestowed upon us, that this place remains whole and not shattered, fractured, and broken due to split decisions and opinions.
A string of infernal that sounds more vicious than normal comes in your direction. Delivered in a very haughty manner.
Of course, she's gonna go towards Nyx.
Did Illyria hear all of this?
You know, you might have heard like a few excerpts of
Yeah.
it when the conversation grew a little bit loud. I mean, there's not too much
Yeah,
of a distance
because
between
I'm a
the...
bit, still a bit out of the way.
Isn't too far away, it's just, you know, maybe
Yeah,
10
not too
10
far,
meters.
but like,
10, 20 minutes. Meters. Yeah. But you can guess the gist of the conversation that just went through. You heard more Dorinia than you heard Aspera.
alright.
Alright. Crocus, what are you up to?
Well, as far as Krakus has been doing, he's just been picking up the pieces of the jewelry, and that's pretty much it. I imagine it'll take a while.
True. Alright. So, Aspera...
Is this a pearl or a finger?
Oh!
Oh,
Why do you have to make a graphic?
point. That's a good point.
I think he's wondering if he should actually remove the earrings from the ear that he's found.
Oh no.
Good question. Aspera, you join Illyria by the edge of the water.
Ah, you're cleaning. That is a good idea, yes. He begins to clean herself.
Like a cat.
Illyria is probably at this point almost done cleaning herself off and is just sort of like sitting like at the edge of the lake and just like watching Nyx.
Okay. How's Nyx doing?
I mean, considering the circumstances, he hasn't tried to drown himself.
Well, that is good. That is very, very good. She's gonna look towards Nyx. How does Nyx look like? Like expression-wise, composure. What's up?
Is it unchanged?
But he's kind of facing out towards the water, away from the shore. So you only see, his back.
He is going to need a bit of time before we have to tell him news.
Yes, just trying to watch a little bit, watch out for him a little bit from afar. What happened in there was quite gruesome. I can't imagine how it feels for him.
Indeed. And I can perhaps ordain why his Madam Eva didn't warn or prepare her people for it. Perhaps the truth of the nature that she has experienced wouldn't bode well for the rest.
How does something like that even happen?
DM, does Aswad have any clue, any records in her training of such a thing happening?
Well, some really powerful wizards, having stories and in history been able to change their form. Um, there's of course the whispers and rumors about the hounds of Turan, um, who is which is in the handouts.
Mhm.
Into like gigantic, a small tribe of people that were eradicated by members of the Argent Purifiers and the Protectorate, who were able to shift into gigantic wolves. This was not a wolf, obviously. It was not an animal, even though if it had like animal similarities, it seemed quite monstrous. But beside from that, if you don't think it's any one of like those two alternatives, you don't know what else it can be.
Gotcha. I have, well, I have some ideas, but the past, information about the matter. I cannot say with certainty that they are the case. Only theories, ideas of the sort.
I heard the shouting earlier.
Oh, yes, the shouting. Primarily from one loud minority, perhaps. They are grieving, and some who do not like Nyx, in their grievous state, has taken upon themselves to find solace in blame. Their minds aren't steady at the moment, and rash decisions have been made by one such individual who did not listen to the rest of her people.
Of course.
It is very delicate there.
I mean, yeah, they just lost a leader.
Yes. For now, I say we take time, some time for Nyx over there to digest the situation that unfolded. I know it is not easy. Not easy at all.
Do you reckon one of us should go look for Caracas?
Yes, before somebody walks in on him at a very unfortunate time and take it the wrong way.
Well, I'm done cleaning myself off, and you can watch a little bit. You can watch out a little bit for Nyx now, so I'll go.
Indeed. And if the people there are trying to incite something, do ignore them.
All right.
And she's gonna go and get the gunk off her armor and scales.
Illyria is gonna stand up and go look for Krakus.
Crocus is currently like chasing an eyeball across the floor.
Oh Lord.
God.
Apples don't even roll, they're squishy.
You said it.
Why is
True.
Crackus playing with body parts?
He's not. He's trying to find the jewelry. But yes, Crocus is pretty much done in the tent. So when you collect him, you collect him.
Yeah, Lyria goes looking for Crackus, and I don't know, she hasn't really seen him leave the tent again. I mean, she hasn't been watching, but I would assume it's one of the places she would look.
He's easy to spot. He's not really trying to hide, and it's great timing that you arrive at the scene, and Krakus is somewhat done because in the last like 10 seconds or so, there are some inquisitive looks that has been sent towards the tent and Krakus and what is rummaging around in. Saban walks over to you guys and looks down at the mess with a horrified look on his face. I cannot believe it. How could this have happened to? She's always been there. Great leader of our people. When I was but a little child, she was an old crone. And so she has remained for all of Vistani's memory. For her to end this way, I'm sorry that things have turned out this way.
So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Please, leave any effects she has with her or that has survived. There's going to be a handing out ceremony. Everybody gets a piece of her things in memory of all the people that she has touched in her life, which means basically all Bistani that is alive, but I guess we will figure this out somehow.
I hope that includes Nyx.
My mother can be a bit tempered, but I don't understand if he's cursed or is not, then Madam Eva, he at least deserves something. But I wouldn't test her too much. She gets what she wants.
Maybe there's just a few small pieces that we weren't able to find.
I'm sure that we haven't seen the little fellow take anything on his person, as long as it's little and somewhat inconsequential. Then I or the Vistani hasn't seen anything. And he gives a wink.
Thank you.
And Lyria just smiles and says, thank you. Crackus, you should get yourself cleaned off.
Oh my god! And he realizes he has a bit of stuff on his head because the whole time he was using Aspida as like a raincoat. She's big. She took most of it. He's small.
It's fair, that's fair.
That's fair. Alright, you
Yes.
go to the river too.
Yeah, he goes in the river. He literally just basically sinks in like some creepy golem-like creature. Comes out nice and refreshed.
Before Illyria can leave, Saban calls out to her again, saying, Lady Lyria, no matter what my mother barks, Nyx is Vistani, even if he is strange. So he will not be thrown out or exiled as you might think from listening to her. We will make sure of that.
Of course, I just heard bits and pieces.
If Nix requires some time to recuperate and be with his people, like he should in this time, and stay for the funeral and wait until Zorvi and Mirabelle comes here from their tragic fate, I'm still happy and honored to take his place to be your guide towards the castle.
We appreciate it. Nix still needs some time on his own, and we can talk about that later.
Alright. You know where to find me. I'm usually a
Of
head
course.
taller than anybody else. And he smiles a little bit coyly at you and walks away.
Illyria heads back to the water, and I think she just sort of like sits on the edge of the water again and just waits for the others to finish cleaning themselves off and waits for Nyx quietly.
You spend like 20 minutes or so, properly cleaning and drenching your faces, and takes some time to maybe do a little bit of like, it's cold. The water is really cold, but a little bit of refreshing, quick bathing. Does Nyx change at all during this time?
Sorry, it's me too. No, he doesn't. He just kind of stands there looking out over the water.
Right. So you finish your business and you gather Aspera, Krakus, and Illyria by the shore and looking out on Nyx as the minutes slowly ticks by. Who will move first?
Krakus will approach the Nyx. Keep in mind, his head is only just above the surface when he stands next to Nyx.
Yeah, I think you had to swim the last, because he was water up to his stomach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You will have to swim.
Can
Okay,
can Ash
it's not great for him to do it.
can Aspera swim her belly down and kind of just her snout above the water so Krakus can sit on top of her head. So
You're a Pokemon.
she won't be able to hear anything. She's underwater.
Well, you do have a really high vitality score, so you can hold your breath for a number of minutes equal to your vitality.
She'll poke her snout out for a breath and then put it down.
Like a silver whale.
Yeah, like a whale.
Askoda uses surf.
Imagine Krakus has got his hands on his ladle, it's like a cane, and he's like, "Oh, go forth."
Okay. Alright, so you do this display of inspired mirth and joy. And you wade out to Nyx in this state.
Krakus is just basically going to take Nyx's hand and says, "You don't need to talk. We just need to make the first steps. standing out in the cold is not going to help you.
Krakus, are you okay?
My heart's not okay. I'm fine. I'm more concerned about you.
That is good that you're okay. Hey. Struggling to accept what I've just experienced.
Yeah.
She was just there. And now she's not. She was everything to me, at least for this camp. She raised me when no one else would. How can I go on, Krakus?
Eva said before her passing that you would be tested and not to give in. You know, there would be hardships. I would wish for us to stay here and for you to mourn Eva properly. But our time here has been rather fraught with danger. We have a responsibility to Arena. I don't want to pressure you, but I feel with what's happened so far, including what's happened tonight, we must push forward, just as Eva wanted you to push forward.
Nyx gives Krakus' hand a gentle squeeze. It's like his hand is cold and he shivers whilst he holds your hand.
There might be
Right.
pie.
You're right. We do have a responsibility to Irina. I'm just going to need a few more moments here.
Take what time you need, friend.
Thank
How's
you.
Cuthbert doing?
She's under. She's there.
Bloop.
You have a bubble or two.
I just like to think Asphodel just suddenly start to sing. Krakus start to realise what's going on.
No, she can occasional pokes of breath and then right back under.
Yeah, so that's pretty fine. She's fine.
So as far as I envisage the scene, there's just moonlight playing out on the lake. There's Krakus somehow standing on top of the water, holding Nyx's hand.
Well, early.
Early morning.
Early
It's the early morning mists.
Oh, so the sun is coming up.
It's a heavy cloud cover, so the world is mostly
Oh yeah, Peruvia.
gray and white.
Light is increasing, but it's still kind of
Yeah.
heckin' overcast.
Yeah.
Without a word, Nyx would look at Krakus before turning, and his face is, a mix of half-washed blood and kind of like how mascara looks when your girls cry. It's just like that, but it's blood. As you can see, like tear tracks through the blood on his cheeks. Let's go.
Yeah. Krakus is gonna hold on to Nyx's hand, and I'm assuming Nyx is starting to turn away. Like, and Krakus is forgetting that he's on top of Aspida, just steps off and sings.
Sploosh.
Nick's like grabs him instinctively, like a toddler jumping into the deep end, and like kind of like quizzically looking at it, and then just like kind of drags him to the shallow. Confused, but with no real mental capacity to process.
Right.
And once they're on the shore, Aspida will rise from the water behind them.
Irina is standing by the shore with towels in her hands and a face that is also cried. Now looking like worldly and sympathetic towards Nyx.
Are you okay, Irina?
I'm a bit shocked when I heard from the others what have happened. But do not worry about me. I worry about you. Do you want something to drink? Some warm wine, maybe? You cannot catch a cold.
He kind of takes the towel and wraps it around his shoulders, and his jacket is dripping. I'll be fine, Irina. I'll take a seat by the fire.
Good. It's not good to be cold and wet on an early autumn morning. You should know better. And she kind of like pushes you a little bit towards the fire.
There he goes slowly, almost instinctively, and just sits there, staring into the flames.
By now, a few like Kato and Saban and Eon is like going through the tent, cleaning it up, making sure it's like out of sight. You still haven't seen any kids, and you all assume that they're not allowed to go out and see what has happened. Ven and Bela, who have been on guard duty for the kids, come out and sit down by the fire. Besides Nyx, they don't say anything, but they share in his pain and his grief. And they make sure that everybody eats around the campfire and drinks something warm.
Illyria is gonna sit somewhere close to Nyx. And is going to wait. What was his name?
Ven, who was the light blue tiefling who was friendly towards Nyx.
And like the one who offered to replace Nyx, or was it somebody else?
Saban?
Saban.
Saban, right?
Let me bring out. This is Saban.
I love this guy, but that's not the point.
Damn.
You know, Saban offered us earlier again to come along instead of you.
Come along.
Well, and she like tries to make sure that nobody else like hears just whispers to him, it's like, they're still under the impression that we are diplomats. I mean, I guess we are, but Yeah.
Nix looks at Illyria, and bloodshot eyes as much as you can see through red eyes. I gave my word to you and to the others that I would resolve my mistakes of trapping you here.
I know, I just wanted to let you know. I understand if you, like, want to stay here for a while, grieve. Even though one of them seemed to have some issues with you.
Issues? Who has issues with me?
I overheard it earlier. What was her name? Asfada had a sort of, wouldn't say fight, but there were some voices raised.
Well, it's not really the time. And you can see, like, Nix grips the blanket and makes his knuckles, like, whiten. Who would you say has an issue with me?
Do I remember her name?
I mean, the Vistani, would call themselves, each other's name all yesterday evening, so I don't know if she introduced herself properly, but you might have overheard the name. Just make a quick intelligence check to see if you caught it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Durinia.
Durinia, something like that. I only heard bits and pieces. I was at the lake.
Nix looks around to see if he can spot Dorinia.
You cannot see her physically, but you can hear her voice coming from one of the wagons.
Nick stands up and lets the blanket fall, and with purpose and almost aggression, he stomps off towards her direction.
Illyria is like sort of going after him.
Yeah, Rena gives like a panicked look towards Asfada, like,
It's just like,
she's coming with, but at a distance.
sorry, I didn't mean to upset you right after this. I just thought that I'm very sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have told you.
Okay, so Nix, you march off towards the wagon, and this one is the same shape as any other Vistani wagon, but this is more like a homestead one instead of a traveling one, so it's like wood all over. So there's like a door, a double-sided door that you can open up in the back to get entrance into the wagon, and you can hear Dorinia's voice talking, what seems to be Tara, Fonzo, and little Rosie inside.
Nix will stomp up the stairs to the back of the wagon and then hopefully attempt to slam open the door.
Yeah, that can be achieved. They're pretty well taken care of by Wen, so they're pretty like well oiled and like moves with like a natural stop and things like that. But you do get some of that effect, and inside it's indeed 3 children together with Dorinia as they're like eating and talking. Dorinia having like Rosie in her arms, and they all look surprised as you enter.
So he's gonna stay in the doorway and just like envision the scene with the morning gloom piercing like from behind Nyx as he like stares half shaded like directly at Dorinia. His eyes lowered. You. How dare you? How could you?
What's the meaning of this?
Don't give me that shit, Dorinia.
Nyx, calm down.
Illyria, this is not your fight.
Dorinia scowls heavily and she like moves her body slightly to the side to like shield little Rosie from you. And she gestures with her free hand for the other two to like come closer and away from the door. A little bit scared, but angry as well. And she says, you must be careful, they can see they're not finished cleaning up. What's with you? Do you want them to see?
Want them to see what? The remains of Madam Eva? I'm sure they've seen worse living with you.
Nyx, stop. At once.
Asphoda is going to come closer. Not gonna do anything just yet. She's preparing.
You may speak in this vulgar tone without children around, especially Fonso and Lil Rosie. You should know better.
You're not the boss of me, Dorinia. You're not the boss of anyone.
I am. I am the oldest one in this camp. And if you honored the Vistani way, then you would honor me as your new leader.
Honor you? After everything you've put me through? Why should I even bother letting you live?
Letting me? Are you threatening me?
It's about time. I have dealt with your shit far too long, and now with Madam Eva gone.
Nyx, please.
Behind you guys, like walking slowly up towards the wagon, is the broad-shouldered pair of Kato and Saban, looking worried. And from hearing all of this intensity, little Rosie in Dorinia's grip starts to cry.
Asphoda is gonna kind of gently whisper in his ear. There's some time and place for everything, Nyx. But don't leave a terrible impression of yourself against the little ones who look so highly up at you.
Tara is just standing like wide-eyed, a bit scared. She holds Fonso to her frame by like grasping his shoulders to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. And Dorinia like still stands there in the wagon with like her side to Nyx, still shielding little Rosie and like trying to rock her and trying to keep her calm. But she continues. If you would not honor me and listen to me as the elder in this camp, I have no choice than to banish thee. Do you want that? Do you want to be even more isolated from your own people.
Nyx enters and walks up to Dorinia.
Lyria sort of like tries to like grab Nyx's like shoulder, and she's like, "I'm really sorry, Nyx. Please,
On the
I
opposite,
know it's none of my business, but
Illyria, please.
Behind you guys' shoulder, Kato and Saban have like approached, standing really close, and Kato talks out. You know that I like you, Nyx, but you're starting to threaten my mother here. Please stop.
if Nyx is gonna take one step closer, Asphod's is literally gonna just gonna pick him up. It's gonna pick him up.
Might be a little bit hard right now. Like there's a lot of people, and Nyx is physically standing inside of the wagon, and
She's got arms. She can like
all right.
at least grab him by
You
the
can-
sides
Yeah, you
when
can probably
necessary.
reach in and
Very true.
grapple if you would like. Yeah.
More of a snatch.
Yeah, snatch.
Standing in front of Dorinia, Nyx will realize, just like look over his shoulder briefly, like, corner of his eye, and look at Dorinia and says, "If you think you can lead them, you can have them." And a brief glimmer of light will flash in his eyes as he casts guidance on Dorinia, and then walks away,
Illyria just
pushing past Illyria, pushing past Asphoda.
lets out this like breath that she has been holding.
You're not the only one. Dorina is still pretty busy taking care of little Rosie, who is still crying. But she like stares wide-eyed and for once is speechless. And Kato and Saban parts like water for Nyx as he walks past. They're still like on edge, but they look a bit relieved.
Illyria will just sort of like look at her and sort of like almost like a little like be like, "I'm really sorry," and then she's just gonna leave.
Asphodel doesn't need to say anything. And she'll take her leave as well.
Irina stands in the background, breathes heavily, and tries to smile. So, onwards?
Uh-huh.
Alright, what does
This is why I don't usually try to speak to people.
where does Nyx go after this?
It's kind of aimless. He just wants to storm off, basically. He realizes like maybe like there are rituals to be performed. There are protocols that the Vistani follow. He's aware of this, but he's also kind of really pissed off. Like jumping straight to the second stage of grief. And I don't know. He's not hiding from anyone. He just like wants to be alone, I guess. And he walks away into the field, like maybe to the forest edge.
Wen looks like for a second that he's about to go after you, but then sees the expression on your face and hesitates and then steps back. What is the rest of the body doing?
Illyria just sort of looks to the others, looks to Irina. She's not really sure what to do.
I just like to point out, haven't really had the opportunity, but Krakus has been getting the wagon ready as soon as Nyx has gone to war, gone to battle, because he's kind of seen this kind of thing before. He might need a getaway driver. Get the
Engine running.
wagon ready, and there's plenty of pie in it, and all pie flavor as well.
Um,
I think Illyria will just sort of like look, see that, or well, I feel like she would probably know that Nyx would want to be alone. So she's just gonna ask Suda and Irina, should we just wait for Nyx to come back?
I think he needs some time, yes. Believe. I'm sure he'll come back, and if he doesn't, we'll be there for him.
but maybe the situation is a bit like a powder keg. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't been in the Vistani camp before. Either we give him time, or every second we stay here, things might get worse. Or
That is also true.
Yes, but we can continue our journey once Nyx has calmed himself, I think.
right,
If he wants to do so.
spec.
If it comes to the point where he is not better when he returns, I only have an idea. I don't know if it will work with him, but it will certainly relieve some pressure off his heart.
So, Irina, how have you been holding up during this?
I don't. I am both happy and thrilled that I'm outside and traveling and doing normal people things again. Feeling useful. I feel like I'm on the road to somewhere. Like I have a goal in life. But in the same time, I'm scared to death of every shadow that I see. And besides my brother and my father and all the friends that I lost after the devil's asphyxiation with me, you guys are like good friends to me. Despite my brother, you are the only thing I have in the world right now. Sometimes I'm very lucky. I feel very lucky that at least I have that. My brother that waits for me in Barovia, but sometimes it also makes me very sad that I don't have more than that. So, some dread, some happiness.
I mean, I can't blame you for the dread part.
I am truly happy that my life might have another destiny than. She shudders and really struggles to say the next words. Bride?
I don't think anybody should be forced into something like this. And I'm so sorry you have to go through this.
Thank you. I really. But I can't help to wonder also what my life would be in where we're going. If I do find myself a place where I am safe. I always imagined myself helping my brother and helping Barovia, and I love embroidery and making clothes. Thought like a peaceful and quiet life in Barovia with my brother and maybe a husband and a few children would be my fate. But now everything is turned upside down.
I'm sure you will find something, and maybe one day you can return to your brother.
How would it be wonderful?
Yes.
Oh, I hope to Gleaming Lord that will come to pass.
Indeed. If you wish to have a fate such as that, you must find a way towards it. Think of what has just transpired here as a roadblock, testing you. It's not, yes, it won't be easy, surely. But if you want something that bad, fight for it.
You're very wise, Sir Dragonborn.
Well, I have to. If I wasn't, then my little brother Callus would be foolish.
Maybe. And she puts like a friendly hand on your arm in a sign of friendly support and appreciation.
Aw,
Oh,
that's nice, that's nice.
and she puts another one on Deliria, and she smiles and she says, "We girls must look after ourselves and each other, huh?"
Of course.
Indeed. Do you know how reckless men can be?
Oh, I live with my father and my brother. I know.
Indeed. They are certainly a lively sort.
True, but endearing.
Yes, of course. If not for their endearment, we wouldn't be pursuing such, now would we?
Ah, that's true. Friskies, no, I mean Crocus. As you were putting the wagon together, you got actually help from Sophia, who had come out, stuck out, and no, she was guarding the horses on the side as they eat some of the food that is in this clearing. And she helps you take two new riding horses, and helps you attaching them to the wagon, because I don't think you have that kind of knowledge.
Knowledge or the ability to reach?
Both actually.
It'll take some serious acrobatics and knowing what you're trying to achieve
And not
that.
scaring the horses in the same time. Yeah. So she helps you, so you get two
True.
horses.
The smaller you are, the to bigger creatures you're more terrifying. Elephants and mice, people and mice, fat
Scooters.
rats to mice, and spaghettis.
So the wagon is basically finished, ready to go. You have packed your things. What do you want to do now?
After like that period of time, like of being by himself, Nix will come back to the center of the camp, and seems a little more composed rather than seething and boiling rage. More retired reluctance, and he's still exhausted, so it's more like you can't hold that much rage, that much energy for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be exhausting.
And he like comes back and like looks around the camp, and I don't know, is are they all outside or?
There are some people that Kato and Saban and Eon continues working with the tent and cleaning up, trying to be as respectful as possible. Sophia, you have a pretty good overlook at the where you're standing right now. So you see Sophia with the horses helping Crocus. Durinia is still inside one of the wagons. Ven and Bela is down by the campfire, and Bela is cradling her 6-month-year-old son in her arms, and they look pretty happy and picturesque together there by the fire.
Nix will look around and say, "I'm sorry for my previous outburst. That was uncalled for. I'm aware that there is a certain amount of tension in the camp this morning for obvious reasons, and I clearly am not helping the situation. I am also aware of the Vistani way. As much as I do not follow it, you all did a pretty good job in drilling it into my head. But we have," gestures to the rest of the party, "we have a responsibility that we must see through. And Madam Eva, in her last moments, did give us a charge. I must make sure that those charges are followed through, if they were her dying wish. I do not know when or if I will come back, but I wish you all well." Now, if we could move the protocols along, we will be on our way.
Ven and Bela stand up from the campfire, solemnly listening to you, Nix, and they offer you both tentative smiles and starts to approach. But before they can reach, a big white hand claps down on your shoulder. Says, "It will be alright, Nix. We will take care of our own, and no matter what has happened, we wish that you do the same." Floor comes out through one of the tents, her eyes completely bloodshot. She has just been crying this whole time, alone in the tent. She walks up to Nix, punches you in the arm pretty hard, she says,
Okay.
you promise
No.
to not make me or Madam Eva ashamed, right? Or else I will drag you down and kill you.
Nyx gives a weak smile over at Bella. Punches her arm as well.
Floor.
I would think nothing more, Bella. Oh, is it Flora, did you say?
Floor.
Flora.
Van and Bella comes over, hugs you, wish you well. It's a hearty and warm hug from a Ben, a bit cooler, awkward hug from Bella since she has a baby in her arms. Whilst Kato, Saban, and Eon gives you a nod.
Det är bara att klara ammo med tillbaka igen.
Do you hop into the wagon?
I look to the rest of the party. See what they're up to. If they're in the middle of anything or need to do anything here.
No, that's what is hopping in that wagon.
I think like they're like we're all just sort of like sitting around, mostly just waiting for you.
All right.
And Illyria is sort of like after your little speech, not really, but after the words, just sort of like gives you a weak smile and gets up.
You hop into the wagon, make yourself ready. Who takes the reins?
I guess Illyria will.
Alright.
Mix is gonna like sit on the back with his legs dangling over the back of the cart.
And then the wagon starts to slowly rock to the side, from side to side, and it starts moving forward and up the road away from the clearing.
Before that, I would assume that the entire party gives like a sort of like an awkward like farewell.
Yeah, and the last thing Nyx can see is one of the wagon doors opening and little Rosie attempting to run out, but Dorina holding little Rosie still in a vice grip and is sending a particularly spiteful glare at the leaving wagon.
Did we pack everything? Did we pack Irina?
Yeah, I'm just there with you.
Did we pack Irina? Did we forget about her?
She's just tied up in like the storage cupboard. Like, yeah.
Yes. No, I don't know. I just want to make sure that all of us are. Look, I had to say it. Somebody had to bring it up.
It's fair, it's fair.
As the Vistani camp rolls further in the distance, Nyx will just like stare at it as it disappears through the mist, and he would just like silently weep.
Alright, and with that, we're gonna take a short break.
Good job, everyone! We did it!
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a snack.
I don't know why. Just thinking, at least my dad used to do it when like you're going on a trip and like they're like, okay, we have the luggage, we have the child, we're good, let's go.
BRB.
Yeah, go refill drinks, empty the bladder. Do you wanna go refill or should I?
Classic slave move.
Yeah. Jesus, sometimes I'm starting to talk to Yoey. When I think about the campaign and I speak English to Yoey, I start with the Vistani accent to him sometimes. It's really irritating. We're on the road to the Radiant City.
Keep in mind, guys, there's still time for death.
Oh, it sure is.
Paula.
I don't like that laugh. I wish not for the time, but I know it's coming. Yeah, somebody's probably gonna die. Oh god. Silent. God, I can't wait to die. I mean, shit.
Thank you, Silent, for doing a TLDR to Wee Woo. It was very kind of you. Thank you.
Can you, look, Weebu, can you not wish death on Cowboy?
I'm gonna take some water. One second.
Alright. So this is my stream now. I'm taking over. Guys, I can't follow what you're saying anymore.
What?
I'm just gonna point out. Julie, you
Yeah,
say, you say, this is my stream now. And then you proceed to be quiet for like a whole minute.
Yeah, I was just like, to be fair, I was just looking at Weewu and Silent. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? Because they're both players in my game.
What the fuck is going on?
Oh, the
Party dynamic is great.
We need to time out some of these people.
You do have the power now, but be careful.
Time out for 1 second. That's what you get.
Why are you threatening to remove somebody's bones? I don't get it.
Nine! I shall not be silenced!
I remember that one time I randomly spoke German because I was tired.
Ich spreche Deutsch.
Delicious bone marrow.
Yeah. The football character is named Marrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen! That's like my extent of German knowledge.
Jesus, Weewu.
Alright, Aeronox, you here?
I'm here.
Awesome. And Sean, you back? Sean is not back.
Not as frisky as his namesake implies.
Is it normal for players to want to eat each other?
No.
Did you
I
just
mean,
eat each other?
Depends if it's like a group of lizard folk.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no.
I want to know what just happened.
It's
People
quite-
eat-
Well, two people who are players in my game are having a fight in Bexxy's chat.
They're having a fight. Ooh.
That sounds like a delicious cup of tea.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing. I was gonna say, Sean,
Yeah.
did you just brew yourself some tea?
Oh, copy.
Oh.
Coffee?
Oh no.
Coffee.
No. Okay. Alright. Okay. Then, oh, whoops. We're going to bring this bag.
Me.
So, shortly after we leave, I would like to say, so where are we going again? Because I don't think we ever actually settled on a place to go.
Well,
We can either
No,
go to Valaki or to the other place, right? Some sort of like monastery or something.
Well, Nyx tells you this through me.
Whoa. Ventriloquy. Oh, you said that right.
that's how much power Nyx has.
Yeah. So you need to head back to the crossroads to take the other path to head up on the base of some of the mountains here that coalesces in the middle of the valley to lead this like small, kind of traversable path in between both of them. And then there will be a choice to either head towards the castle or head towards Valaki. And then further down the road past Valaki, you will find Kresk and the vineyard.
So Valaki is our goal right now, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so.
Unless you want to go and knock on the castle doors.
Yeah, sure. Let's just like knock.
Hello, delivery.
Delivery. We have a bride for you.
That's not a bad idea. That's actually a good idea. Just don't tell Illyria.
Or Irina, for that matter.
Yeah.
No. Illyria's next as well.
Oh.
Remember the vision and stuff like that? She's totally his next target.
You guys, the chat right now. Oh,
I know.
everything.
Uber Eats.
But Illyria is getting a little bit uneasy heading back to the crossroads.
It's still pretty warm outside. The wind is soft. The clouds above heavy. And I mean, I don't think you talk much during this like a little bit less than 2-hour journey back to the crossroad.
2 hours is a long time.
True.
It would. I'd like to think that Nyx would snap out of, the sorrow for a bit, and just like. Who's driving?
Illyria.
Illyria right now.
Illyria's driving. And Illyria's still like heavily injured, right?
She's not dying or anything, but she's
I
like.
think the
half
healing magic that you did closed the wounds, but you still have lost some blood.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And a
I think
gash.
I think Nyx will, in the back of the cart, write some words in his book, and almost as a tribute to some final words of a funeral that he will not attend, he will cast a prayer of healing.
Do you include yourself?
Yeah.
The healing light warms your body, but gives you little emotional respite.
How fixated is Nyx in his little book? Is he in his own little world where he's going about all this?
Go ahead if
ritual
you-
cast, he would be very focused. I think prayer healing has a casting time of like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes. So he'd be like writing some words down. I mean, he'll be kind of quiet to begin with, and then he'll just like pep up and say, I'd like to say a few words. And the prayer of healing is like tied in, like the ritual cast is like a eulogy for Madam Eva. But you will feel good about it for some reason. This is great.
Illyria is like, I mean, I don't think anybody really sees, but like she's like just carefully listening. She's like somewhat like sad and kind of like feels for Nyx, and you know, the fact that she doesn't feel like she lost a bunch of blood is a nice bonus.
Woo! Indeed. Well, you know, there are two different kinds of crying. There's ugly crying that just leaves you empty and tired afterwards, and then there's the reconciliation crying, the acceptance crying, and you know, there can be like a moment here with the eulogy that even though it's sad, it unburdens the heart a bit afterwards.
I'd say Caracas has more of experience with onion crying, unfortunately. You just need to see his emotional stats to understand that. I will say, like, the reason why I ask, because if Nyx is sufficiently distracted, Caracas is going to want to ask Arena if she could help him with trying to fix the jewelry. And try to put it back together.
She looks a little bit flustered at first, and says, I'm more used to Netherlands red, but I can try, but I don't want to mess anything up.
Because with that, I imagine Caracas is just like, kind of like, it's got him in his hands, kind of like showing her. And just like kind of like he'd be quiet, he got his fingers up to his lips, whatever. So yeah, you say that, and Crocus could be like, okay, we'll try a little bit for now. We'll try.
She pokes you gently on your shoulder with a mischievous grin on her face, and she says, "Did you just assume that because I'm a half-element girl that I would know how to fix jewelry?"
No. I assumed that you're a woman, and so you would be able to make a plait. Because you know some of these bracelets and stuff, because it's they're not all going to be like metal, are they? Some of them's going to be just like fabric, whether in like kind of like plaited sort of patterns, stuff like that. Crocker's going to be like, I don't know, I've never braided hair.
Lyria's just kind of like, I don't know if she is, but just like, nice safe, Crocus.
Crocker's like, shh. Next day.
Just eyes widens and her smile drops and she leans back and like, right, okay. A little bit miffed. Now the Vistani noticeably does not have any woven or cloth material jewelry. They are way too ostentatious for that. Even if they don't have like money to clad themselves in like all pure metals, they certainly try to imitate it as much as possible.
It's starting to sound a lot like kobolds. Okay. I'm gonna
The bigger, the better. The shinier, the better.
Kobolds. Okay. Forget that then.
Lyria will offer Arena to come join her if she wants to flee from the gnome.
She gives you like a gracious smile, and she readily accepts.
Right, she's gonna be banging the jewelry together, but it's kind of like clink, clink, clink.
She's too polite to say that the gnome stinks.
Oh, he stinks of mint. Just so you know.
Well, she is unsure what that stench comes from.
It's swamp mint. It's very different.
Ew.
Sure, if you are a swamp connoisseur, but she ain't.
None of us are.
It's like the equivalent of someone who doesn't really like wine. He goes, "Yeah, it tastes like wine."
Yeah.
It's a very earthy scent with subtle hue.
There are layers to this gnome.
Alright. Wow. Alright. You eventually cross crossroads.
Round 2.
Yeah. You come back to the crossroads, and as it reveals itself through the mists, there's no body hanging anymore in the gallows. It's empty, forlorn, quiet. And considering what Aspida felt here when she did her primeval awareness, I would assume that you do not stop.
Nope, we're going past there as fast as we can.
Yeah,
I
we're
like to
not.
imagine Illyria immediately realised. It's like, it's gone. Right, move.
Go, go, go!
Rockets is sent flying as the vehicle faster now.
Yeah, you bring up the horses to like a quick trot to just get away from the scene.
You rev the engine. No.
And you get back on the road leading towards Vallaki, the castle, and Kresk. The dirt road carries you at a steady pace upwards in the terrain. The road winds back and forth to not strain the horses or legs as it skirts along the base of a massive mountain. It's
More of a hill.
And
Sorry.
of course. Its size and its peak is hidden in mist, so this is the size of rocks that you can see, Krakus. As the morning passes and your elevation increases, a number of changes occur in the landscape. The road and the forest you can see immediately around you is not as wet, turning more rocky than muddy. And the forest increasingly turns thinner as the dirt becomes more scarce in nutrients and rocks extrude from the ground here and there. What would bring some peace to your mind is the apparent thinning of the mists as well. It seems as you're climbing higher, the mist becoming ever so slightly less pressing on you. But what would slowly come to trouble you is the increasing darkness and majesty of the clouds far above you. And as you briefly stop for lunch, you can instinctively feel the apprehension in the air, as if the world around you is holding its breath, waiting for that sudden moment of release. All the while it feels like dusk, despite it being in the middle of the day. So, there are dark clouds overhead that is darkening the world as you're climbing ever so slightly and slowly upwards this winding mountain road.
Okay.
Question.
Answer.
At this point, since it's lunchtime, just for my reference,
Yes.
is Nick still exhausted?
We need to roll a vitality saving throw.
Oh
And-
no.
Considering how you've been feeling lately, would you agree that maybe rolling with disadvantage would be appropriate?
Yeah, he's like in a weakened emotional state, and it will drive him to the pie.
Yes. Alright.
Oh.
Rockets presents pie.
let's,
Unfortunately, it's pie is pie flavoured, not hag flavoured.
Okay.
vitality
Okay, so
saving throw.
vitality saving throw.
Disadvantage. Yes.
Ooh. Gambling.
And
Oh damn.
what the
No,
fuck?
it was meant to be. Meant to be.
It's just distracted.
You feel the urge for pie awaken in your mind again. You start to piece things together that whenever you have the pie, you feel in general your dreams are blissful and a very nice respite in this dreary circumstances that you have found yourself in this last couple of days. And right now you are feeling exceptionally emotionally exhausted, even to the point that even reaching for the pie is heavy. So you can lean into that laziness and ignore it if you want to. But it still calls out for you. Pie. Eat me. Hello? Why can't I hear anything right now? Wait, what's going on? A second. My computer is derping out. Alright, let's leave the call and reconnect. No. Oh, David! Now I can hear something. Oh, jeez.
Hello.
Yes.
Are you with
Something-
us?
Ooh.
Something happened.
Yeah, I think I might have had internet spike, but it seems we are back to normal.
It's really weird. It's gone quiet as well. I don't know if anyone else has
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah.
I had to turn her up as well.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Am
Oh,
I?
now you're okay,
Okay.
I suppose. Tell Yuri to stop downloading all the porn.
That furry porn won't download itself now. Come on.
So we missed what you said. I mean, we got bits of it, like it came along as if it was some sort of broken message, but something about it was hard to say. I think you basically mentioned that I could go one way or another.
Yeah. I basically said, like, you're starting to realize what the pie is doing for you by this point. And right now, you think that pie would be a wondrous answer to what you're feeling. But in the same time, you're so emotionally hollowed out that everything takes extra effort to do. So you can lean into that laziness and ignore the pie just from straight masochistic needs.
Well, I think that would just be a default, really. I mean, Nyx would be. I mean, yeah, he would have that craving, I suppose, but given the severity of the person he lost, I mean, he would be almost numb. So, not necessarily a laziness, just more like a default emotional state that, and there's no pie around. So it's like, well, I don't. It's not something I want right now.
I'm wishing Crackers could cook a pie for you.
Look for mushrooms.
So, in that neutral state of mind that you're in, that you like really observing yourself basically from a distance or walking in a haze, you feel the hold of the pie on you lessens.
A bit.
A bit, indeed. It's a bit more vicious than that. But you do not suffer an exhaustion. Woo!
Hooray!
Where's the room? Yeah. So it's lunchtime. You have all stopped a little bit, taking a bit of a bite. Was
What food are we eating right now? Because I've lost track. We clearly don't have pie.
Rations?
Yeah, rations.
What are rations at this point? I think
Like
just
nuts, trail mix.
basically
I don't know, jerky, things like that.
Yeah.
No fiber. That's one. Two. Dreadful.
I mean-
smoked or salted meat, cheese, hard bread, some butter.
Bread got fiber.
maybe.
Wait, we got butter.
I mean, if you eat the butter in the beginning of the journey, it can last.
It's a snack pack with like breadsticks and like soft cheese.
And little sticks, and you could dip into like little chocolate sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one
Oh
of
my
those
God.
like Nutella dip things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like little lunch boxes for a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Wow.
And like have the ones where it's like one is like one quarter is like the chocolate, and then one half is like breadsticks, and then another quarter is like iced tea or something.
Wow, that's really specific.
It's a straight up Lunchable.
Yeah. It
That
is.
is really specific because I have very vivid memories of eating that when I was younger.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Oh
I
my
mean-
god, that looks atrocious. Thank you.
anyway,
It is.
Does anyone have them? Because like Nix has some rations, so you can distribute.
Irina brought 8 rations. So
Okay.
I would actually like you all to like compile the amount of rations that you have as a group, and then remove one for each of you for today.
I have 10 rations in my inventory.
And
I have
put
10
it-
as well.
Jesus Christ! You do. Just
These
put
guys
it
are
all
packing.
into the group.
Lunch packing.
Okay, so we have 35 days of rations then as a group.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Asphodel has like 7-day rations. And wrote
Damn.
down of her own before really. I just bought for her. She's got
Okay.
7.
Sure.
Okay, then it's 35 plus 7.
42 rations. That's like over a month of rations. Nice.
For
Yeah,
one
lovely.
person,
All
for
of
one
us
person.
need
Oh,
to,
for one person,
yeah,
yeah.
all of us need to eat one, so that's
Yeah, so remove 5. And then the horses have some feed in the wagon. I actually added a horse to the
Feed, there's grass around. Just eat the grass.
Twigs.
Crunch, crunch.
Like they were like a moose.
It helps, but it's not enough. And feed is heavier
Yeah.
than your rations. So Irina's
We gotta
only
feed the
got
cart beasts. Otherwise they'll eat us.
8 feed for the horses. So remove 2
Oh dear.
today, so you have 6 left.
Oh dear.
We put the feed in the party inventory as well, or
Yeah.
Do that.
so we have 6 left, right?
How long are we going on for this lunch?
How long do you want to go for this lunch? Sitting
Long
down.
enough that I can go hunting for force
feed?
feed. So
Horse
imagine
pellets.
like what I'm hunting. It's not even foraging here. Literally, like there's a field and out on the grassy plain is just like bags of horse feed, and they see me coming, they just hop away like "Arr!" Gonna run after these bags.
What?
Yeah, this fantasy that you have in your head is a no.
So can I forage for like some sort of like horse feed? Maybe a stick.
Stick. What do you think horses eat?
You know what? I used to
Oh my.
a lot of different things. Cows are worse.
Rocks? Rocks probably.
Mostly wire, actually.
Do you have any animal handling?
I don't have animal handling.
That's clear. That's clear.
I'm a predator. I know chicken is feed.
Do you declare this to the rest of the group that you're going out to hunt for feed for the horses?
No. I declare to the rest of the group that I, Crackers the gnome, we are loading food for the cart beasts. I'm gonna go and see what I can hunt for them.
You
We have
want
six
to hunt?
6 days worth of
For the horses?
Yes, I don't believe they eat meat.
What?
Horses don't eat meat, Crocus.
I don't. That's cruel. I'm
The
sure
plant,
you would enjoy a pheasant.
they are able to. You're gonna give them indigestion, Crocus.
You know,
He's just gonna look at you, just like what?
hay and grains and grass.
Okay, gotcha. I'll go foraging for some grass. Yeah.
Crocus, they need a lot. They need a field, not foraged in by handfuls.
You're saying that he's currently pulling like struggling to pull some grass out of the bloody just by the road. It's like what?
Crocus, it's not going to be enough, and you'll end up hurting yourself. Trust me.
And there's some very like pitiful strands of grass that you pull up. Like looking around, you know, it's mountainous, rocky forest terrain.
Look, Crocus, every fistful you try to uproot is not even a bite for a horse.
You're doing your best, Crocus. I mean, it's nice that you are thinking of the horses, but I think we would have to make it to Valaki and find some sort of store that sells it.
Yes, and I hope not at an egregious price.
However, I mean, rations can only go so far. Perhaps you can source some, I don't know, mushrooms or herbs?
Not unless we have to.
Well, it's up to you. You have an opportunity here. You know, we're just having a little food, but if you need to search for something.
I suppose Crackers has got an itch to go search for something at the very least. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go to the alchemy book thingy. Oh god, where is it?
If Crocus is gonna go, Asphodel will follow because she can also forage, but primarily to make sure Crocus doesn't get into trouble or run into it.
Okay.
Shoot. Where is the section where you hunt for random stuff?
Well, you have finding essences. Well, you have to basically do a short rest here to have the time to properly forage. That will slow down your travel because, like, a lunch break is like usually like a quarter or like half an hour rather than like a whole hour. So keep that in mind.
I'm sure it'll be fine. There's not gonna be an undead walking around like some corpse we saw earlier. Hey, it could catch up. Could be this far up the road.
Yeah, I mean, besides taking our time, I mean, yeah, okay, we've got the arena, but we can take a few extra moments just to break up the day and catch your breath and...
True. Okay, I want Crocus to roll 1d20 plus survival cunning. And as for you do the same.
1d20 plus 5? Cunning.
Plus your survival with cunning.
Gotcha.
You search for like almost 45 minutes for anything in these woods, but they seem barren and super boring, and it leaves you frustrated and disappointed.
Can I come back at least with a twig? It was slightly curvy and interesting, so...
What did Asphodel come up with the 16?
You find some wild berries, you know, some blueberries.
Oh.
Crocus is colorblind. It's dark and gloomy. I'm just gonna point that out.
I mean, There isn't really much detail here with all the mist anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. All right. She'll haul back with her blueberries.
Don't um refuse the blueberries. Blueberries are nice.
Are you sure? These could be poisonous Barovian blueberry.
DM, are these poisonous Barovian blueberries?
Or hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenic, even.
Oh, that
Let's
makes them
roll
valuable.
survival with intelligence.
All right. That's a 19.
It's a 19. They definitely look like normal blueberries.
She's gonna eat one.
But she's a lizard! No!
Sweet, sour, fruity, bit of umami. Tastes like a blueberry.
Subtle hint of sandalwood.
Crocus. This is. Well, it is a blueberry.
It looks toxic to me.
There are no hints of poison within this berry. But if you do not want to partake in such a tender fruit, then I can just hoard them all for myself and share with the rest.
No. We should keep them. Alright? Because we're like one step into making a pie here.
One step.
One step into making a pie. You need blueberry.
I think there's several steps into making a pie. We don't have flour, we don't have sugar. Or
It's a tiny step. It's one possible ingredient.
I
Yeah.
don't think we'll be making a pie in time before they spoil.
How fast are you thinking these are gonna spoil?
A few days.
A few days.
Maria's just gonna take one of the blueberries.
Unless you want me to freeze them. But with this humidity, they're not going to last long. I doubt we will be making a pie anytime soon.
Right, like Crocus is gonna grab a bushel of berries up here and like, and hold them out in front of you and freeze them. With his hands, just like holding the berries, just like.
Okay, I wanna,
Nothing
if
go
you
wrong.
agree with this, Asphodar, I will make you do an attack roll with slightly higher AC to not hit Crocus at all.
She has a better idea. Crocus, put the berries down. Me trying to breathe on them, it's gonna freeze your hand off. And yourself, most likely. Put them down.
Freeze myself off. Just holding the berries, just kind of bewilderment on his face, kind of like trying to process what that could even mean. To freeze
Just
myself off.
put the berries down, Crocus.
He puts them in a bag.
Okay, that works. She puts her berries in the bag, so it's just a bag full of berries. She puts the tip of her snout in the bag and uses her breath weapon.
Bless you.
Sure. You have a block of frozen blueberries in your bag.
A block. This is not Minecraft.
No, it's kind of like an ice cube with frozen blueberries inside.
It's just too many ice cubes. But anyway, continue.
Preserved now
Okay.
until it melts.
Crocus is satisfied.
That's good. Someone is.
For everybody's sake.
Alright. Do you pack up and continue?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna spend this whole episode freezing blueberries.
No. Crocus is
After the
going back to
children.
banging the jewelry together very quietly.
Alright. You're back on the wagon. Continue traveling. And a handful of hours after lunch, rain comes smattering down like a curtain with no warning. The temperature immediately changes in the air, turning chilly to the point of almost frost. And those whose skin is exposed to the tears of the heavens can experience the cold nature of the water pouring as well. In combination with the temperature, it is bone-shiveringly cold. Visibility immediately shrinks to only a few meters ahead, and unprotected hands turn swollen and stiff in the falling onslaught. No, that's the wrong one.
Give me the rain.
A heartbeat later, a flash of white illuminates the world for a split second, and a moment after, a rolling thunder vibrates through you all. Time between the flashes and the thunder is worryingly short. Anything you guys want to do?
Aphrodite's gonna keep her eyes on the sky in the case that something from above could come out. This is being cautious.
Crocus is going to pray to Boreas.
What do you say?
I don't know. Honestly, I can't think of anything. You have to forgive me.
You start. I send a prayer to you, Boreas. Right. Yes. All right.
Oh dear.
Both the riding horses that you have attached to the wagon are a bit more disciplined than the horses that you got from Arena.
And the Crocus.
Especially like used to like moving wagons around, but the ferocity of the storm makes them still on edge. So Illyria, you're in the front still, and with Irina.
Probably.
Irina squeezes your hand and shrieks as soon as the water hits her, and she says, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna go back there.
No problem.
You are starting to become quite cold, Illyria, because there's nothing protecting you against this rain. And the clothing you're wearing is, suitable for autumn, but not suitable for winter temperatures.
She's just sort of like looking back and is like contemplating to stop, I guess. Do you think we should stop and wait for it to be
Would Nix know where we are in relation to how far away Vallaki is?
By now you're about a little bit more than halfway to the. No, you're about halfway to the crossroads. Between Castle Ravenloft and Vallaki.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah, and it's like 3 or 4 in the afternoon right now.
Yeah, Nix will poke his head out the front and like look up at the sky and like see drenched Illyria and say to her, "It's really coming down, right?
It is.
It's going to be a while before we can find respite amongst the walls of Vallaki. Perhaps we should try and seek some shelter? For the horses, at least, and for you. And Nix will hold his part of his jacket out over her head.
No.
No.
Is there anywhere we could find some shelter?
Well, let's take a look.
I will allow 2 people to roll perception with intelligence, or 1 person with advantage.
Is anybody good at that?
No.
Okay with it.
I have like a 4.
And,
Pretty good. Just roll with you're driving, so I think it makes more logical sense that you would. I'll like look out with you, I suppose, as I'm like sheltering you somewhat terribly, but
I don't
within
know
with advantage.
Asa, roll with advantage.
Nice.
21. Damn. You do this for a while, and you like look between different possible places. I mean, sometimes you like walk past like a very thick part of the forest. Sometimes it's a hill, and you know the rain is coming down at a slight angle. So maybe if you stand on the other side of the hill, but eventually you come across another hill that is like leaning a little bit on the side and is in the right direction through the rain, so it creates quite a large area that is protected from the rain by just being in the way, and jutting out a little bit on the top. It's not like a real cave, it's more like a 1/4 cave, if that makes sense.
Like an overhang.
Bit of an
kind of?
overhang. Yeah.
Like an overhang. The ground is still wet, the temperature is still cold, but that will still give you some respite from the rain that is pouring.
Yeah, Lyria was gonna point it out. It's like you should probably seek shelter over there.
Nix will like turn into the cart and say, "It's really coming down now. I think we need to stop. For the horse is sick, and for Illyria, she's drenched out there, poor thing."
Yeah, by now, Illyria, let's roll a vitality saving throw. Woohoo!
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
You got this.
fine, just fine.
You're going to die.
That one, baby.
That's not being fine.
17.
Oh,
there you go.
17! Oh. You are very cold, but you iron your way through it, and thankfully you will not wake up with a cold tomorrow.
Yes.
Woohoo! I mean, unless you get a fire starting and not protecting yourself henceforth, but from this there won't be any problem. But you see the wagon carefully over there, trying to be as calm as possible with the horses. You snuggle up a little bit with the horses, actually. Trying to be close with them to share body heat. And Nix knows some of this. What to do. How do you get a fire starting?
I imagine we pull the cart, like it's like a covered cart, right? Like to block the open end of the overhang, and like the horse is on one side, so we only have one entry really. Go back to the cave, well, the overhang, then us, then the cart. So it also stops the wind and like any sort of rain coming in, or at least stop some. It's still pretty wet.
Yeah, you all get a little bit drenched, and even the horses seems a bit perturbed, except for Asvida. It's like, that's some rain. Okay.
Oh, yeah. What a day.
I mean, I have a tinder box, but like, I'll look around for any possible dry wood in this, like on the overhang, like at the cave wall.
In It's mostly like underbrush and dirt, some mushrooms.
Mushrooms? You said?
Mushrooms. Mushrooms.
Yeah, it's those like barely eatable mushrooms, like those who like give you stomach aches, and
Or can be turned to poison. Mm.
well, they're not that potent.
Oh, I see what you're up to. Ruining my mushrooms. But yes, there's no real wood here. That's very dry to burn. That's what you're
No.
saying. No. Okay, the cart's gonna have to go.
Burn the cart.
Even when.
We only use a bit of the hemp rope. Asphoda kind of pulls out the remainder of the hemp rope she does have. We do have this to burn.
You want to burn the rope? Surely that won't really.
I have chain.
I don't think.
Okay, you have chain.
Yeah, Aspana, I want you to do a quick survival with cunning.
Okay. 12.
The hemp rope be treated with like tar to not make it frizzle. So burning that might cause smoke.
Fair. I know tar is flammable, but that does not smell good. Not smell good.
I want to say, where there's smoke, there is fire. So, I'm trying to start fire.
I mean, you can definitely try.
Do you guys mind the smell of tar?
I have an idea first. It's something that perhaps, well, I wasn't paying too much attention, but you are very strong, Sir Asphoda, and I wonder if you have something to carve wood. Chop it.
She takes out her halberd and gestures to the axe-looking part of it.
Meanwhile, Kraken has brought out his ladle. Just gesturing to the ladle end.
Would a halberd be able to chop wood? That's a.
It would be very awkward. It will take longer than it should, and it might
No
hurt
hand axe or
the
anything?
halberd.
A halberd is a long axe that also happens to have a pointy end to it.
Sure. But is it like a hand axe? Like, can you really use it as a tool as opposed to just a weapon?
I wouldn't say it has the same curve as a battle axe, like the wood itself, the handle. So as you said, it might be a little bit awkward, and then the head itself is a bit thinner than like normal axes. To not make it too top heavy, because you already have like a sharp end too.
Helena,
Well, that's all she has.
do you have any tools?
Not really, and she just sort of like motions to a rapier, which is the only
God.
weapon-looking thing she has.
It is doable though with the halberd. It can go.
Well, can I look into the in the cart? Are there any like usual tools for like fixing a wheel or anything like that?
You know, they usually are in Vistani.
But not this
Vistani
one, right?
wagons. But you look in the normal place for just those tools that you know are supposed to be in any respectable Vistani wagon, and they're mysteriously not there, and you curse Canterbury.
Fucking Cantemir. Cheapskate bastard.
I just want to point out something.
Hmm.
We could use the chain.
What?
What?
We could use the chain.
Okay,
Cut the tree
As what?
as a chainsaw.
Oh my god.
No.
No.
We were just like rabbit, you know.
The horse.
As if you're trying to dry your back.
Well, I mean, okay. So let me tell you what Nix is thinking. Um,
No.
it's possible that we could also find like a big old pointed rock or something like that to maybe do this. But there's a trick that you can do that if you can find some wood, like a log or so, maybe like a fallen tree or something to like snap part of it off. The insides of like a dead tree
Yes.
would still be dry, right? So then you can take a portion of that, turn it on its end, and split it, and then you move the pieces apart a little bit, and then you can like light a fire in the middle of that, where the split is, and then burn from the inside out.
But does Nyx have any knowledge in survival?
Oh.
Does he have any knowledge in survival? Do.
Would
I
Asphodel know?
mean, he has 2 in cunning, as in he doesn't have any proficient like skill tiers or ranks, but he has jack of all trades, so he's kind of.
Crocus has survival.
Yes,
Okay.
same with Asphodel.
Well,
Right.
Nyx would explain this idea, like he never really has done it, but
Yeah, let's do a quick survival intelligence from both Asphodel and Krakas.
Oh,
Which modifier? Cunning or intelligence?
Intelligence.
Oh yes.
yes, Crocus, you got it.
you got it,
Well,
the man of the woods.
If you bring fire.
even Asphodel realizes that this is a great idea.
Yes.
And Krakas is like, oh yeah, this is like one-on-one survival.
It's like, yeah.
Go forth and find the log then. I'll keep the horses with Illyria calm.
Crocus charges out into the rain. Immediately comes back and goes, oh, it's cold.
Like a cat.
I imagine one of you start hitting me like, go.
Nope.
I imagine Illyria just sort of like glaring at him.
I'm going. Oh.
Like I had to drive the car for a bit in this rain, so you can find the log.
Irina busies herself by tidying up in the space and removing, irritating stuff and making it a little bit more smooth and nice.
Quick question.
Yeah.
How big are these mushrooms?
I mean, they're
They're not umbrella sized.
no. They're not
That's what else
size.
for it. Oh well, alright. Out in the rain, unprotected.
Nick's just gonna quickly look at Sir Asphodel before she has a second. You don't seem to be too disturbed by the cold. Is there some sort of trick?
If you remember correctly, she breathes ice.
Sure. Well, I guess I remember that, but what does that have to do with it?
Well, if we're cold on the inside, the cold on the outside, you don't mind it as much.
Oh, it doesn't really bother you then.
No, not at all. Now, if it does bother you, my father did have some great imparting wisdom to those who couldn't stand it.
Such as?
Ignore it and bite your tongue. And she walks out.
What do you
Wow.
think I was doing?
Grow a pair.
What do you? Illyria's just like, what do you think I was doing?
Great wisdom from Asphodel.
Damn.
Okay,
Alright.
okay.
Let's
Got it.
make perception intelligence from Asphodel and Krakas to find exactly a good and dry piece of log.
15.
So Asphodel takes a look-see. Holy
Oh
shit.
yeah!
Go Crocus!
Sniff it
Asphodel,
out.
Starts saying I think over in that direction, and then Krakas immediately goes, oh, I know what it is.
Literally, you're just seeing a log with some legs running towards you.
Well, again, a log with some legs trying to run towards you because the log is very heavy. But with
Crocus has been carrying more than his body weight this entire journey. This entire adventure.
yeah, but
He
if you
could
add
handle
a log on top of that,
Most of the stuff is in the cart.
but Asphodel helps to shop a dry part in the middle, and she also brings one more, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And you head back to the cave. You hear a wolf howl in the distance,
Oh no.
and through the trees you see rain and just mist, and you get back to the cave.
Hmm.
Right, with the tinderbox, cracking the log open, create a fire from within the log itself. And finally, there's some warmth coming into this cave, and Irina breathes a little bit. Whew. Well, that's much better.
Yeah.
Good job, Krakus. And Aswada.
He's still in the log. Ah!
Illyria looks towards both Krakus and Asphoda. Thank you.
Of course.
Did you see anything else out there? I know it's poor visibility, but we are still in Barovia.
Funny thing about gnomes, they can become quite obsessive about things they need to do, so he was only looking for a log.
Alright.
Okay.
Sir Asphoda, think.
I'm sorry, I think you cut out for me. Come again?
Oh.
Who cut out for you?
Yeah, Bex.
Oh,
You
I'm
cut out
sorry.
on my end.
I think it means ask that to both Krakus and Asphoda, so if Krakus has nothing to add to the conversation, just Asphoda say it.
No, she doesn't. But Sally will chuckle.
So you didn't see anything?
No. We heard a wolf howl, but that was about it.
Okay. Well, I'm not that well versed in weather, but it looks like it's going to keep going for a while. Best to post sentries, lookouts, just in case.
Irina. Your turn, Irina. Pats her on the back, says guidance.
That's fine, I can take the first rest, but are you going to be sleeping now at 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Well, no, it's more about. I didn't mean sleeping. It's more like just keeping a lookout until the rain passes. Someone has to take care of the horses, someone has to take care of the fire. You know, you've got a job. It's not just a free ride.
What true? That's true. She wraps a blanket around her shoulders and says, I will go and stand with the horses and look out a bit. Yes.
So much confidence.
Entitled.
I mean, if you remember correctly, we are supposed to protect her.
Sure, we're protecting her. I mean, but it doesn't mean that she just has to sit on her ass and do nothing, you know? She's,
I don't think she would.
And a great
No,
booming
of course.
beast sweeps down and takes Arena from the mouth of the cave, where she
What?
stands
That's gonna be hard.
unprotected.
Like-
No, I'm just kidding.
Just-
Do you talk about anything specific or do anything during the evening?
Oh, I know. Asphoda will chime in. So what is there in Holaki?
Lucky, well, not a lot of Vistani, that's for sure. It's, let's see here. There are, it used to be governed by some elders, I believe, at least a while ago. And they have since died or moved on. I don't really know, but right now it's governed by two brothers. I believe their names are Luvash and Arigal. They are like, as far as you can think, from brothers, one being one large and one very small. Brute force and smart, perhaps, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Villaki, if I'm honest, and because me being a Vistani, I am not really 100% welcome there.
Ég er að ég ætlaði like
I see.
þarna hægt og rólega að færa þessi hérna fyrir svona og svo bara
I'm not. I don't know if it is relevant or.
þú sérna þína stormur
I just have my doubts about Vallaki. Is all. Yes, it is a civilization. Yes, it is a town. But I would not be like myself, like I was back in Barovia. You know, Barovia village.
You're speaking of the Vistani encampment. That's Luvash and Erga. The city itself.
Oh.
You haven't been.
Oh, right.
You say encampment that's outside of it.
The encampment outside of it. All right. Okay. So there is an encampment outside of the walls of Verlaki, just to the west of it. Gotcha.
þessi penalty sem segir þetta
So I've not been inside Verlaki.
No, you only seen the walls from afar.
Well, I hope Volaki is a bit more kinder or tolerant than that of Barovia.
And it has maybe, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 people or so inside. It's quite large.
If it's that large, I also hope there's more than one shop owner.
I was about to say the same thing. I would love to get a few things.
So, a few things. Anything we should know about?
Oh, just a bow or crossbow after our encounter with those things, and maybe a shield. It has been a while since I have used one, but
Well, I mean, Nick's like kind of empty, like turns out his pockets in his jacket. The cart wasn't exactly cheap.
no, maybe we can get our hands on some money.
Maybe we can find someone who's looking to, well, need some adventurers, I guess. Fund our journey.
Wasn't it the vineyard that needed some help?
Yeah. But that's really far. That's on the other side of the valley. So Velaki's in the middle.
The tavern and the owner is like who told us about this is kind of ash now.
That's a horrible way of putting it, but okay.
Yeah, so it's we have Velaki in the middle, and then Barovia village on the east, and then we have Kresk, Kresk in the far west.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. And south of Kresk, you have the vineyard.
Yeah, so it's like days away.
Yeah. You have traveled in between the Seer Pool and the Valaki encampment before, and it's like 3 to 4 days of travel, depending upon the speed.
This weather is not going to help. Let's get there very quickly. But I know some people nearby. We're lucky at least.
I'm sure there is at least somebody we could offer our services to.
What about the Protectorate? I mean, is there anything you guys have done in the past that could bring in funds?
I highly doubt that many people here are that aware of what's going on outside.
Well, it's just more about what you're skilled in, because we know you're great at diplomacy, and your rapier, sure, but
I know how to use a sword.
okay. So we're looking for some sort of job that might require some sure strength.
Yes, perhaps some monster hunting. In a sense. Protecting this, fending off of that.
I'm sorry for listening in, but I mean, Baron Vargas Valakovich sometimes hires mercenaries to take care of different threats around the town or the center is inside who is not loyal. That's what I've heard. Visited him and his family when I was younger. It was like a eon ago.
Oh, Irina, you might be able to help us then. I mean, my negative might be your positive, I suppose.
Well, our village might have fallen into some hard times recently, but the Baron still responds to noble blood. So I think, I mean, if you're so gracious to escort me all the way to Albalaki, I will try my hardest to get through the gate with you. I think if I just declare my presence, they might let us in.
Okay.
And maybe even get us an audience with the Baron. Maybe ask what he needs help with. Where I
I
can be
mean,
safe.
with two noble ladies, I think we'll be okay getting through the gates. I just have to hide in the back.
Asphodel begins to has she seen the little storage spaces this cart has?
Not really. Like Irina and Nyx has mostly been rummaging around it. Do you want to take a look?
Yeah, she'll take a look, see.
Let's make an investigation check.
Alright. That's ugly.
Well, I mean, what is obvious is that the benches are like long chests that you sit on, and they have been filled with horse feed and extra blankets, and your travel packs and the rations. There's also a saddle and a bit for each of the horses if you need to decouple them and use them as normal riding horses.
If we were to empty a chest, would a Nyx fit in one of them?
Look, I'm not sure smuggling Nixon is the best idea.
Barely.
Okay, Asphod's gonna look at the armor she's wearing, and then look if a Nyx-sized individual can fit inside it.
Just the breastplate.
Just the armor off. Can he fit inside it?
Awkwardly, yes. But it would fall off of him if he doesn't like lie down in it.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. They're not gonna look inside some beefy person's armor. She's gonna like kind of, if they ever like question it, she's gonna like, she'll have her armor off, pretending to clean the outside of it while Nyx is chilling on the inside.
Crocus
Maybe.
could always rub up inside it. That would put people off going near it.
Yeah, and if they try to peek inside, a crocus is gonna pop out.
Okay.
Maybe a squeeze for a full-size gnome and a... Actually, how tall is Nyx? Tall for tiefling? Or is he... What is he?
He's not. Oh, hold on, I have it written down. He is. Toot toot toot, toot toot toot.
Calculating.
He's 175 centimeters. So he's tieflings with their horns as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't think we'll both fit in there. Otherwise, you want to get really close to Crocus. That's not a good thing.
And wouldn't be the first time. I suppose.
Okay.
Da, da, da.
You can certainly try when you come to it.
But for now, we have to make sure that we survive this god awful weather.
Right. The hours drones on as you listen to the steady downpour. Sometimes thunder flashes, makes you a little bit jumpy. You notice how it comes closer to your position, and there are some violent lightning strikes ranging down higher up in the mountains, and sounds of boulders and rocks tumbling, crashing and echoing across the mountain forest far in the distance. But eventually the heart of the thunderstorm moves on, and the lightning becomes more and more distant.
Well, where's this pass, do you think?
Seems like it.
Blah! As the Crocus like gets out like a pile of mushrooms.
Perhaps if it's still going to be raining and cold, I mean, I noticed the Rasvada being all totally, undisturbed by the temperature. Maybe she takes the reins for a while. You look a little cold, Illyria. And Nyx rubs her shoulders.
You wanna? It's like now. It's like 6-7 o'clock.
All right.
Should we not stay here for the night?
I mean, you can press on, catch up those hours you lost. Your horses have been somewhat warm.
Yeah, but
If you wish, I could. You all may rest in the back while I proceed. If that is what you wish.
If you're all right with it, I won't keep you from pressing on.
I'll be fine, thank you.
I will point out though that it's still very dark, still a lot of rain and mist, so your vision is not as good as it usually is.
Will a lantern help?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty sure we got a lantern a lot earlier. In fact, I had to look. Where would it be? Party inventory.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
party.
have.
We've got torches, but they won't really last in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there was a note. Ah, they told me. Might have been from previously then.
Okay.
Me.
It's up to you, as for that. I mean, I wouldn't really advocate driving a horse in the dark, but you probably know better than I do.
Well, you do have a good point there. In that case, for safety's sake, we shall think resting here for the night will have to do. And we'll press on in the morning.
You take times take turns. I mean, watching out for trouble. But you have a lot of time on you. It's easy stuff that's raining on you. Um, the night is quiet and uneventful, so I'm not going to ask you to roll. And during the night, the energy in the air slowly but surely fizzles out. The lightning moves away. Um, the hard needle-like rain turning softer and softer, and in the morning hours to a slight drizzle, and then finally, when you have all rose from your sleeping, the clouds have parted a bit, and there's just this very faint hint of sunlight that somehow pierces through the heavy mist and the forest around. The shy warmth and light is still enough for travel-worn bones to recover a tiny amount. Do you carry on?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You take out the wagon from your little place and hatch on the horses again. Put everything inside of the wagon. Carry on down the road, and pretty quickly you come upon a particularly wet lower part of this mountainous region, where parts of the road has been um, moved by water, created like a hole, like parts of the road is gone. There's just this 10 meters long, about 1 to 2 meter deep hole in the ground. It's still pretty flat, and it takes some maneuvering. It takes some animal handling to keep the horses calm, to not slip or go into mud. You need to take care a little bit of the wheels, so they don't get stuck or get hit on a rock. But with some teamwork, you move it aside, and you're quite happy that you didn't travel through this yesterday. Then you come upon the highest part of this journey, cresting up on the base and the wing of this mountain above you, and this is rocky straight, just hugging the cliff wall, with a pretty steep cliff on one side and a little bit like a hill that is almost like a ravine, with the forest several meters down, where you can find perches. And in the middle of the strait, there are some stone and even boulders blocking the way. There's scratch marks in the hill, where there seems to have been boulders falling down and rolling down the hill towards the forest below. And once again, you're very happy you didn't walk through this yesterday. It's heavy work. You're delayed again, like moving the rocks aside, but using finding perches on tools of pushing them from the other side of sticks and weapons. You're able to move them aside and roll them down the ravine. It's pretty loud. You hope that no one notices. but you get past that section as well. And the journey during these morning hours and lunchtime is blissfully uneventful. The forest smells of mirth and rainfall. A few daybirds tweet amongst the trees, and the mists act more like thin floating slivers rather than their usual behavior. But after lunchtime, the road becomes stony underneath your feet instead of the mud or the more rocky terrain. And as you follow the stone road, as it clings to the side of the mountain, let's bring back the kid journey. Change that music. This. It ends before a bridge that arcs. Mold encrusted stone that spans over a natural chasm. Gargoyles cloaked in black moss perch on the corners of this bridge, their frowns weather-worn. On the mountainous side of this bridge, a waterfall spills into a misty pool nearly 300 meters below. The pool feeds the endless river that meanders into the fog-shrouded pines that blanket the valley of Barovia. And when you are like in the middle of the bridge, like Irina leans forward and says, can't we stop for a while and just take in the scenery for a second?
Of course, if you want.
I
Unless
Stretch our
anybody
legs.
has an issue with that, and she just sort of like to the others.
I could use a little break myself.
A little stretching wouldn't hurt, yes.
Right. You stop the horses. Irina jumps out of the wagon, like runs over to the stone ledge and looks over towards the waterfall. I've not seen this view in quite a few years.
Nix is gonna like go on the other side of the bridge, facing the opposite way. And standing on the edge of the bridge, he's going to pee off the side.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Make my own waterfall.
Oh my god.
Bra, okej.
I know that Barovia can be a bit dreary, but there are some fantastic views.
It is beautiful here.
Tell me, do you have anything like this in the Protectorate?
Oh. I mean, where I come from, we're surrounded by mountains. One of them has a big dwarven fortress built into it.
And she like looks wide-eyed. Dwarven fortress? What does that look like? How is that?
Well, it's certainly, if you've never seen it, quite a sight. It's like beautiful stone masonry. It's like carved into the mountain itself. It is, I don't know, I always felt like it gave off this sort of like mighty feeling, like it's everything's stone, like nothing could get through it. although I have to admit, growing up around it, it gets a little less interesting when you see it every day.
Ha!
I can understand that, but I still wish to see it. Oh, Illyria, if I could, I would travel far away from Barovia and explore the rest of the world.
You know, if somehow we manage to get out of here, which at this point I think there might be only one way to accomplish that. And she sort of like looks down, thinks for a bit, and is like, I'll make sure to maybe, if your brother would allow me to do so, show you my home.
I would like that very much if I would be able to one day. She turns to all of you and she says, we basically only have 2 or 3 days left of our journey to Wallachia. Honestly, I'm a bit sad that it will maybe end there. I don't know. I come to like you, all of you, even you, Curtis.
Damn.
Shade.
It's like, I mean, I enjoy having you around, but your safety is most important.
Okay, speaking of safety, I think we should carry on. We already lost so much time. I'm sorry, I
course.
just had to be a little bit selfish for a moment.
It's alright to be selfish from time to time.
Indeed. Shows you what you want.
You're taking the view for a few more tantalizing moments of like drinking it in and trying to savor it for as long as possible. As there's some sunlight in the air still, which is a happy surprise considering everything. But eventually you get on the wagon and continue the journey. And you head downwards now into the thickness of the forest. And the mist comes back. And the short respite that you had with those sliver of mists and that bright sunlight in that open air above the Seer Falls is gone.
Yeah.
And now the sunlight fights to find perches between the trees and reach you. And the gloom engulfs you once more. And closer to the late afternoon, traveling uneventfully for a while, the mists thickens further, creating a semi-transparent white and grey blanket over everything you see. And with it, the temptation of paranoia and unease resumes. Ahead of you, the simple stone road splits into two, widening towards the east. And parked at the fork in the road, pointed eastward, is a large black carriage drawn by 2 black horses. The horses snort and puffs of steamy breath in the chill mountain air. The side door of the carriage is closed.
It's not moving.
Can we get past it, or?
You're still a bit like a little bit away from this. There's like a little lantern
Oh, yeah.
that illuminates it in this part of the forest, so it's pretty easy to see it far away because of this.
Okay.
So you can see it from pretty far away.
I guess we approach more and see what's going on, if we can maneuver around it.
All right.
Well,
You,
isn't it a little bit strange that they're just standing here? Maybe they need help.
What's a
I mean-
possibility?
The carriage seems intact.
Sure. I mean, I don't know what rules you have on the road in the Protectorate, but out here, if someone breaks down, usually you stop, help them out, because you would want to also be helped out if that's the case, right?
Yes,
I
that would
mean,
be correct.
you do have a point.
Just a quick check, see if they're all right. If everything's fine, we just part our ways and we head back onto the road to Belaki.
Asphoda kind of like narrows her eyes at it, but she'll state, I will go first, and just in case, do stand somewhat behind as one of us remains at the carriage. And she's like looking around in the brush nearby. See if there's any movement.
roll a perception check.
Alright.
With
Oh,
yeah,
intelligence or
intelligence.
oh, nice!
It's when you actively like look around for something. It's intelligence, but composure is like not being surprised.
Nice! 22!
22. There's a lot of mist here. Like more so than maybe you ever before experienced in Barovia. Like before, there's some critters. The mist moves in weird ways. But you cannot see anything.
Okay. That's what I will say. Irina, stay in the carriage. Illyria, if you could, be by her in the case something jumps out and tries to take up the carriage. Crocus and Nyx do try to stand out outside. You're more of the long range, who knows? Things get messy. I will go up to this carriage. And if you don't hear anything pleasant coming from me, do make a run for it.
There's a fucking big ones. Come on, bro.
Just not to
Shoot you with help, bro.
confuse things further, but what would be a pleasant noise coming from you? Just so I can have a context.
I mean, an unpleasant noise, Nyx.
Well, sure, but I mean, all I've heard is very, low-key, military-esque kind of directives. I just want to know what a pleasant noise will sound like so I can know the difference.
I don't see what a pleasant noise would be imperative for this situation.
But just so I don't confuse things.
As you bicker, suddenly, out from nowhere, a tall shape steps out on the road in front of you all. The horses thrusts and recoils in surprise, but after a few steps backwards they stop. A figure is standing mere meters ahead of you, dressed in a heavy dark navy cloak. The hood is up, hiding whatever facial features this creature has. It stands still, seemingly watching you with quiet confidence. As you are granted a moment to recover from this scare, almost like a jump scare, because Asphoda, you were certain that you gazed through the woods with a sharp gaze, yet you couldn't see this figure. You don't believe your eyes at first as you observe the creature. But no matter how many times you blink, you cannot unsee that the mist swirls about this person. They thicken around it, swirling gently in a clockwise tornado, and here and there you can see grasping arms and moaning faces breaking away from the mass, climbing up the cloaked person's legs, almost like they're begging for something. They never reach higher than his knees, however. Soft moans come drifting towards you, as if the myths are conversing with the figure. What do you do?
Hoo hoo hoo. Oh boy. She takes out her halberd but keeps it by her side. She's not gonna point it at this figure, but she will call out towards it, saying, "You there? Who are you, if you would allow?"
The cloaked figure throws back the cowl to reveal an elven face with eyes and hair of very dark brown. His face is marked with an unmistakable mask of superiority, but his eyes are as cold as a winter night, without any hint of sympathy. And he says to you, "Disembark. My lord wishes to speak with you."
Your lord is in the count upon the hill.
He is indeed a count. For now. Now, do not tarry, or else the consequences might be dire. And he shifts his body slightly to the side and holds out a hand towards the carriage as he's waiting for you.
Ah, the entourage. She puts her halberd away.
Alright, do you all disembark or do you stay there?
She'll turn to the party. Before I kind of. Yeah, she'll just turn to the party.
Has he seen Irina?
Yeah, Irina's head is like curiously peeking out behind the couch bench. You know, in that little hole in between the bench and the cloth couch. So, it might have. You know, you guys did mention Irina.
Whew, well,
Lyria just sort of like looks towards Irina and she's somewhat like very concerned looking.
Irina looks confused and a little bit bewildered, like she doesn't know what to do. And the figure, quite impatiently, calls out, "It is quite rude to make the coward wait. Either you will leave the wagon without help or with it."
Lyria will just sort of like mouth something to like Irina, like hide. And then she will get off the carriage and see if he calls for her to.
There's no change in that steely gaze that this elven man is emanating. He doesn't stray his gaze at like any specific like features of you guys. He just coolly takes you in one on one in a very methodical and logical manner. And there's like a small crease in his forehead as he starts to become frustrated.
All
about your
right.
lack of efficiency.
You must excuse them. They are quite cautious, understandably so if an entourage just now appears before us. Come, let's go before this. He looks at this elvish man. How high is he in comparison to her?
The elven man takes you in from head to toe, and there's actually, for the first time, like a small, the tiniest amount of like eyebrow raise before it settles back.
This effeminate fellow loses patience and does something rash. I would rather meet the Count in good graces instead of foul ones.
Good.
Seems so eager
That
to
is,
meet him.
preferable.
I simply do not wish for any more stress on us than necessary. So I have an inkling of a suspicion, a feeling, if you might say, that resisting this is not in our favor. Like, think about it. If a wagon ready for us suddenly appears from whichever way we're going, it can happen anywhere.
Then let it happen in Velaki after we're done with our errand. Why does it have to be here and now?
It's a fair point. She looks at the elven man.
This is a matter that cannot be discussed. You shall do what you're ordered to do.
You don't know me at all, do you?
I think he's serious.
I think he is serious too. But that doesn't change the fact that getting into a stranger's cart is not something that we would really want to do.
I'm
Yes,
not
a strange.
sure we are given a choice.
Did you not see how the fog rolled about him?
Frankly, you were given a job. Do you abandon duty so easily?
You are aware of who we are?
Of course.
Then you wouldn't mind if we were to have a guest with us, would you?
Which guest are we referring to? The uninvited creature over there?
Who does he point to?
Crux. Or
Okay.
incline his head.
Yes.
The Count accepts his presence. And Rina, she's already been invited.
So he knows she's there, right?
Yeah, if he said Irina.
Now, please. I do not have the patience of a saint. If you continue to resist, well, I will enjoy the consequences.
She just sort of like glares at him and think I apologize. I've been quite on edge recently. Should I go fetch?
Are all of you out of the wagon at this point?
Yeah, like
Lyria
yes.
is. She told Irina to hide, but I'm gonna assume he let her know that he knows she's there.
Yeah.
Well, Nix will be close to the cart. He hasn't gone that far.
Okay, and Krakus?
Yeah, I'm probably just by the cart.
From one moment to the other, the elven man suddenly turns his head towards the carriage, listens for a second, and then inclines his head and steps back in like a demure posture. And you see something within the carriage stir, and you hear the sound of somebody exiting it. But from the opposite side, the sound of crunching leaves and dirt underneath this second creature's each footsteps somehow hammers in time with your heartbeat. Then the person steps into view. A stately, half-elven man dressed in noble clothing, a vest of velvet red with patches of armor, and a dark black cloak billowing from his shoulders. Tall, muscular, but not to the point of burly. He stands with impeccable posture, his regal aura further boosted by his high cheekbones, and on his full lips a charming smirk plays. Despite all of these things that would make any man inviting, and his non-threatening posture to boot, the mere sight of him evokes a primal instinct within you all. Your eyes widen, your mouth turns dry, your tongues limp, and your limbs grow heavy. Now your heart beats in your ears like a steady drum. A claustrophobic feeling passes through you all as you almost feel trapped inside of your own body, so only able to watch the events unfolding before you, almost like deer in headlights. A voice screams in your head that you are mere prey, and strolling towards you in a leisured pace is an apex predator. Welcome to Barovia, my emissaries. And then we will end tonight's episode.
Ah!